It's 8 p.m. and here are our top stories.
My whole world just got turned upside down.
A delivery driver's van was stolen in Denver with his dog still inside. Now he's running out of options to find his best friend.
I'm really just concerned about my dog. She's sweet and doesn't deserve this.
Aurora's mayor reigniting his fight to ban urban camping.
The fact is, we need to clean up these areas.
While Denver dedicates millions to safe outdoor spaces.
Safer for the individual, safer for the neighborhood, which means safer for the city.
But nearby residents rail against the risk to safety.
Their operational policies we don't feel are enough to really protect our neighborhood.
Plus, Frontier and Spirit joining forces. What experts say about the deal impacting Colorado flyers.
People have shown time and time again that price is the #1 factor when they're booking flights. This can make it cheaper.
Good evening and thank you for watching Denver 7 News on Local 3. I'm Jessica Porter.
I'm Danny New, and as a pet owner, our first story tonight is one of my worst nightmares. A man was delivering an Instacart over the weekend, making the rounds on Sunday, and when he left his van for a second, it got stolen right off the street.
He says the van can be replaced, but it's what's inside that was taken that he can't live without. Denver 7 Sloan Dickey spoke to the victim today and his mission to find his best friend. Sloan?
Yeah, Jessica and Danny, these are the cross streets where Brian Allen Park says his car and his dog were stolen last night. He says it's been a nauseating 24 hours, but he hasn't given up hope that they can be found.
Just shock. I haven't really been able to sleep. Barely ate.
In a matter of moments,
I literally thought I was going to be 10-15 seconds.
Brian Allen Parks had some of his most prized possessions stolen from him.
We were in a very nice neighborhood and I thought that I'd be fine.
He left his car running to drop off an Instacart order in Uptown. That's all it took for someone to jump in and drive off.
They drove towards City Park and I was running towards them. Simon's claiming calling 911. They took a left at City Park going towards 25th. And that's the last I saw of her in the car.
The 2003 Toyota Sienna brought him from Vermont to Denver, but he says it's replaceable.
I'm really just concerned about my dog. She's sweet and doesn't deserve this.
It's what's inside the car that he can't live without.
I've had Zuri since she was 7 weeks. She just turned 9 in December. It's basically my child. I just want her home and knowing she's safe.
Brian called police the moment the car was stolen, but he says they've been little help.
I just wanted one detective to come down here and kind of see what's going on.
Now, in a race against time, he's taking the investigation into his own hands.
I've got probably I don't even know, 30 to 60 people trying to find her on top of the 63 shared posts that I have, and random strangers just keep on reaching out.
Posting these flyers to social media, he hopes anyone with information will speak up.
If you see her, she is very easy to approach, and her name is Zuri. Just call her and she'll probably wag her tail and run towards you.
As for the thief, he has one request.
She has a lot of people that care about her. We just want her home safe.
Take the car.
She's an animal and she's innocent and she didn't do anything wrong.
But return Zuni to her family.
And the Denver Police Department did get back to us. They said they have opened up a report on this incident. If you have any information on that stolen car, again, it is a tan 2003 Toyota Sienna with Vermont license plates, and that number is HRD 559. Or if you have any information on the stolen dog, you can anonymously call the Denver Metro Crime Stoppers. Reporting live in downtown Denver, Sloan Dickey, Denver 7.
Zuni looks like such a sweet dog. Thank you, Sloan. And taking a closer look tonight, Colorado leads the nation in car thefts. In fact, the number of stolen cars are up 113% in the last 2 years. But despite that, our Denver 7 investigative team has learned Aurora is pulling back efforts to investigate these crimes. Investigative reporter Jennifer Kovaleski is finding out why the police department is no longer a part of the statewide auto theft task force.
What does that mean for the community?
We've seen an increase in crime. We have residents that are reaching out to us saying they don't feel safe.
It is going to have an impact on the city of Aurora itself. It's going to have an impact on the entire metro area.
You can watch our full investigation tonight on Denver 7 News at 10.
Speaking of Aurora, Mayor Mike Kaufman is not giving up on his proposed homeless camping ban. This is going on right now as he once again introduces a ban at the city council meeting. Kaufman's previous attempt failed to pass last summer. He says the biggest issues with homeless encampments citywide are sanitation, loitering, and an uptick in crime. He says it's time for the city to act on the issue, but City Council member Allison Coombs is worried about the domino effect.
So it's hurting our city in a number of ways. But I think the worst thing you can do to these people is to do nothing. And to allow them to, continue on their self-destructive behavior.
We know that the cycle that happens for people experiencing homelessness is that they get a trespassing charge, they miss court, they get a warrant, and they end up in jail. So even if people aren't being hauled directly to jail as a result of this ban when a camp is abated, there's a high likelihood that we see an increased number of people in jail.
Kaufman says his proposal also offers up a resolution directing city staff to come up with designated areas where those experiencing homelessness can go. A final vote will take place next week.
Now, on the other side of the spectrum, the Denver City Council tonight has approved an additional $3.9 million to support hundreds of people at city-sanctioned campsites throughout the end of the year.
Denver 7's Russell Haythorne spoke with the advocating group Colorado Village Collaborative, who says the campsites are working, but people living nearby tell a different story.
The city is poised to expand these safe spaces for homeless individuals like Melissa Ironshield.
There's nobody that can get in here without permission,
which advocates believe is a step in the right direction.
I really support this low barrier approach, adding an alternative for folks that sleep outside to have another option.
But neighbors say these safe spaces aren't as safe as advertised.
Their operational policies we don't feel are enough to really protect our neighborhood.
Security video and cell phone videos of the camp at 8th and Elati show ongoing issues. This guy wandering the alleys, screaming profanities at 4 in the morning.
People yelling racial slurs.
Another video shows two men in a verbal and physical altercation that went on for several minutes, ending with one man being expelled from the shelter.
That just means he gets expelled into our street here.
And then there's this from Emily Ostrander. Her packages stolen off her front porch, strung along the sidewalk next to the encampment. The contents of the packages gone.
You don't have to, go through rigorous background checks or drug offender screening.
Davida Gonzalez has lived here for decades and is now less than 10 feet from the new safe encampment. Yet she says she's never felt more unsafe in her life.
There's some days I don't even come out of the house.
She keeps her blinds closed on the north side of her home for as long as she can stand it.
I don't want to go into depression either.
Organizers and homeless advocates like Colorado Village Collaborative say these tents are safe and warm.
They're designed for ice fishing. Bathrooms, showers, laundry, things that can keep them safe.
Got heaters, little radios, lights and stuff, everything going on in the inside.
The site is secured by fence that was coded gate entry.
But clearly that doesn't quite work to protect those outside the fence. Ostrander says there are better options.
The Regis one is in the middle of an empty parking lot, hundreds of feet away from homes. To us, that makes a bit more sense.
Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.
Thank you, Russell. And dozens of residents who live in the area have filled out an appeal with the city to have the encampment removed. We'll let you know what they decide.
All Frontier Airlines flights are back on track after being grounded this morning due to a technical issue. The problem was fixed in about an hour. About 20% of the airline's flights today had to be canceled. And all of this happened just minutes after the Denver-based airline announced plans to purchase another low-cost carrier, Spirit, for nearly $3 billion. Both airlines known for their low fares and paying for any additional add-ons you might want. David Slotnick with travel website The Points Guy says this should shake up the entire industry.
I think that at the top end, yes, this can make it cheaper because this is really going to put pressure on Southwest particularly, but also the other big three airlines for their domestic sort of leisure personal travel customers. It's just going to bring a cheaper product. People have shown time and time again the price is the #1 factor when they're booking flights.
For people here in Colorado, it could also mean more service, both in the number of flights and new destination options to mid-sized cities. But the path to approval is still uncertain for Frontier and Spirit. The Biden administration has taken a much more aggressive approach to antitrust issues compared to the previous administration. It recently blocked an alliance between American and JetBlue that fell short of a full merger. Increasing competition in the airline industry is one of the issues that the Biden administration has cited as a priority.
Mild and dry to start the week, but there is a chance of snow coming up in the 7-day.
Education over politics!
Education over politics!
Their superintendent ousted. Now Dougco students are taking a stand for their education.
We are students, and this is our schools. We should have a say in what happens.
Politics still in play in Colorado schools. Now some lawmakers want to limit outside influence.
Restore some faith in the process that, that candidates aren't being bought.
Plus, one group of cheerleaders shows us that spirit is ageless.
It's never too late to learn something new, that you can let go and just be silly and goofy, and that's okay.